Selling into enterprise can be very difficult, and it's really hard to get them to trust you, to believe in you, and to follow what you're doing. Well, not anymore. Patrick Trümpi, he's with Unique. He came in with an awesome idea, something that they've implemented that has worked fantastically well, that their prospects are wanting to follow through with. Their prospects are getting a ton of great information, and their sales cycles are much shorter. So if you're selling larger deals, and if you want to sell larger deals, definitely check this out. You're going to learn how Patrick and his team have implemented a value workshop that has made the process much smoother, much cleaner, and much better for winning clients. Watch this.
Welcome to Scale Your SaaS, the podcast that gives you proven techniques and formulas for boosting your revenue and achieving your dream exit. Brought to you by a guy who's done just that multiple times. Here's your host, Matt Wolach.
Hello and welcome to Scale Your SaaS. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Matt Wolach. I am your host, and our goal here is to get you to scale your SaaS. We're going to help you find more leads. We're going to help you close those leads and scale your team so you can have an amazing experience and reach that dream exit. And today I am super excited because I've got Patrick Trümpi with me today, and he's going to share a lot of awesome stuff. Patrick, how you doing?
Hi, Matt. Glad to be on your podcast today. I'm doing really well. I had an amazing day and look forward to the session.
Oh, me too. I'm really looking forward to it as well. And Patrick is in Switzerland. He's from Switzerland, one of my favorite countries in the world. So it made me uber excited to make sure that this is a great show. Patrick, let me just make sure everybody knows who you are and what you're doing. So Patrick is the Chief Sales Officer at Unique. And Unique records client conversations and leverages state-of-the-art AI language models like GPT to analyze them in over 12 languages to deliver data-driven insights and assistance to client-facing teams that adds to their decision-making and helps them win more clients. They're doing some really awesome stuff, both with the product and with how they're selling the product, which what Patrick oversees. So once again, Patrick, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot. Well summarized, Matt, and let's get going.
Let's do it. So, kick us off. Tell me, what have you been up to lately, and what do you have for what's coming up?
So, last year was a rough year, right? For most of the SaaS and especially in our space, we started 1 year, 9 months ago, actually, with the company. And our ICP, ideal customer profile, at first were tech companies from 50 to 200 employees, like tech, SaaS, B2B target group. And we were competing against Gong, basically. That was our main thing, like being Gong in Europe. I mean, everybody, I guess, is familiar with Gong. The thing is, in Switzerland, in Europe, you always have an edge with compliance. When it comes to compliance, when it comes to languages and so on, that American companies usually struggle with when they try to get into not just languages, and compliance is a big topic, and GDPR and so on. You're probably familiar, data protection. And we wanted to take on that market in Europe. And beginning mid last year, we know what happened, right? There was huge, also in Europe, we felt it. Our target group was hit the worst, I guess. Like these tech B2B companies started to save more and more money, CFO approval needed for every single sell. It's even in our company, right? I bought Salesforce for 100K or so per year alone, and now I have to go to the CFO if we buy for 1,000 francs. That's what the dollars. That's what we decided internally. So, and the same was with our customers. Luckily, we were 27 people in the sales team until then. It was like July last year. So we grew quite quickly, and it went rather well at the beginning. But then it hit us. Luckily, we had a few companies in the insurance and banking sector already. We won like 4 or 5 of them, private banks, one retail bank, and a health insurance in Switzerland. And then we decided to move 100% to enterprise because that market was not affected at all. We also realized competing against Gong might not be the best idea. It's basically too late. They are incredibly amazing product. Our ICP mostly wanted to work with them as well. It was way more secure, right? Even in Europe, and they don't care that much about data protection, honestly. Like we do, because we now have clients, financial institutions, but not everybody does. So we moved to enterprise sales, which was tough, right? So I didn't hire all the people for enterprise segment. So we had some changes in the team as well.
Let me ask you about that real quick. Did you notice, that's something that a lot of people don't realize is the difference between aiming at small and medium businesses versus aiming at enterprise. It is a different skill set on your team that's needed, right? These people have different capabilities and different ways of working working with prospects, that it's important to have somebody who knows enterprise, right?
Yes, it is. I think it's the skill set. It's also different skills. You have to learn additional stuff. You have to learn potential, like, sales methodologies. You have to use sales methodologies more thoroughly through the whole process. Qualifying is not just one meeting. Discovery is qualifying all the time. But the biggest difference, honestly, is also that I realized, you also see that between B2C and SME B2B. The big difference there, when it comes to salespeople, you usually have smarter salespeople along the scale. That's just how it is. People who are not, like, intelligence-wise, who are not coping that well, are usually B2C. And the more you go up to enterprise, in enterprise, you need smart people. It's just how it is, I think. And also something I learned early in my leadership career from John McMahon. You probably know the guy who scaled a lot of companies, and he said intelligence is among 3 of the most important criteria besides drive. I think drive was the second one, and adaptability. These 3 core criteria, that's what I look into in salespeople. If people have intelligence, adaptability, and drive, I think they can go into enterprise. No matter what, you can learn the skill set, absolutely. But I did see that some people were struggling, because if you talk to C-level in enterprise, you got to be on top with your smarts as well. That's just how it is. You can become smarter. I would say, I was not smart when I was 19. When I look back, I read a lot of books. Starting at university was also helping, but mostly reading, learning every single day. It's really every single day become 1% better. Read a lot.
Love that.
And that's how it developed. Well, I wouldn't say I'm really intelligent now, but definitely better than when I was 19.
I think you are. And how's that work? So now you're focusing on those attributes for your sales hires. Is it working? Are you seeing it play out?
Yeah, it is. It is. And one thing that we did, so we got a lot of deals like 50, 75K, 100K. Not, these are all like some testings as well. But we charge a lot of money even for testings, and it's working out well. We can upsell afterwards to 500Ks. If you're new in a market, you know how it is. It's kind of starting from scratch again, basically, right? If you don't have any case studies to show, if you don't have any, what's the question salespeople get asked first? Who is using that solution already, and what is the impact for those? And then we're like, well, sorry, we don't have impact yet, because the first clients was like half a year ago. But I realized, so what I decided early on, I worked with workshops already 5 or 6 years back. What we did is usually after a few discovery demos, it doesn't always happen that you have in the discovery the right people and then in the demo already in the first ones. I mean, you have to do iterations there. Sometimes get new stakeholders in, do another disco demo, and then again and again. And as soon as you have the potential champion and you know who the economic buyer is, who's the potential first user group of use cases you discovered superficially, I realized you can always talk about pains and challenges and use cases in a discovery and in a demo, then you cover it. But very often the understanding is not detailed enough. People do know, we could use it for document, whatever. We could use it for that specific use case. But the understanding is very often, it's also when I buy, I think, we could use it for that, but I don't have my inner security whether that's the case or not. And I realized, we have to push people as soon as we can to work with their users and some team leads who at the end need to use the solution and work it out with them. They come up with the ideas. We do push these workshops we do push them as soon as there is an opportunity, and it works really well. In the past, I had already a win rate of, I think it was 72%.
Wow.
Workshop done to close won customers. We charged 3,000 or so, or up to 10,000 per day. It was a full day sometimes. Sometimes it was 3 hours. We have like blocks we can take out and put that workshop together.
Let's break into that, because that's how I found out about this. I saw your post on that. It's really quite incredible what you've done. Is I feel like you've taken a pain or a challenge or a need that the market has and provided this insane amount of education to help them understand that you can solve it, you can get there. By the way, I love that you're wanting to get deeper than skin deep on discovery. That's critical. We train that in our stuff. But this value workshop that you came up with, let's dive into that. So where is that in the process, and what exactly happens with that?
Yeah, so it's usually if I just had I had a bank 4 weeks ago. We had a discovery call with with the people. We came through C-level management, and they said, "Hey, it's really a strategic topic. Talk to our head of. She's head of projects. She owns all the projects in the whole company. So we had a discovery and a demo. We went there. In the demo, we're physically there. That's the thing now. We do record physical calls. And in Switzerland, a lot of banking discussions are physical meetings. And that's, what Gong doesn't offer, for instance, or most other companies can't. We do record physical meetings and so on. So we were there. We knew, she said, look, we do all the projects here. There were 3 people in the meeting. And we said, look, they said, yeah, we would like to work with you. We said, yes, let's do a workshop with 2 user groups, ideally. Service center is usually what we do, and then sales team. And they said, yes, let's do that. That's a good suggestion. And that's how it went. So after 2 meetings, like the 3rd meeting is a workshop. If you have the right people in the meeting, if they qualify as champions and have access to economic buyers, you can actually do it rather quickly. But sometimes I have to do several discovery demo sessions with people until I found a good use case that is urgent and big enough that we can move on. We always do have a broad idea what we want to do. Sometimes we also have a very specific idea already what we want to do. But one of the issues is also afterwards and that's one of the reasons why I use it. We roll it out, right? We want to have first test users. How do we find these first test users? If you do a workshop, you already have them, and they are already really convinced that this is helping them, because what we do is like an intro, why, how, what. That's basically the challenges we already discussed we'd like to solve, how it works, and what the solution looks like. We go into a demo and show a few things, broad things, and then we ask the people, look, what are the top use cases for you? Then they write down 15 minutes or 20 minutes, they write down stuff, and afterwards everybody presents their results on the whiteboard. We do a break, 5-minute break. We structure the things like into buckets, and sometimes there are mentions in different, like the same things differently said. And afterwards we give them like these stickers and say, look, you have 5 stickers, put them on the top 5 priorities for you. You can also put 3 on one or 2 on one. And at the end, you have like a top 3. Then you have the top 3 use cases. And then you do another session. In the same session, you do another round and say, look, if we could solve them, what does it mean for you? What do you win? Do you win time, less risk? Do you earn money? Can you do more sales? Whatever. And then
it's probably different for each role, right?
It's probably
so the CEO, it matters for them to do one thing. For the person up front on the front line of the sales, it matters a different reason why they want it. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And usually from the user, if you know it from the user, it's very easy to go upwards, because that's the value for the user, okay, for the team lead and for director and for the CEO. That's it. We don't do that with the CEO, because with the CEO, we do have a rather clear idea. We have specific strategic ways that we go. And well, CEO is not always an important persona anyway for us. It could be interesting, but one level below, like the C-level head of private clients or head of corporate clients and so on. We have quite specific ideas what it helps them, because there are not that many different strategic initiatives at the moment going on. So we have a few key ones, but this value workshop is specifically mainly for the people who are using it, like in the day-to-day, let's say.
I love it. And so from this value workshop, how long does it typically take?
So this one, what I just explained, it takes 3 hours. So that's 3 hours with
beautiful
5, 6, 7 people usually. Yeah, that's it actually. So
And do you charge for it?
Not yet. So at the moment, when we went to the new strategy, new ICP and so on, I decided not to charge for 2 simple reasons. First, additional charges, that's one-time revenue we win. And we both know ARR is relevant for the valuation of the company, not one-time services fee. So we didn't prioritize the one-time services fee. We prioritized that we can do it as quickly and fast as possible. And if you charge, it will take probably, it took us maybe 2 or 3 weeks longer. 5, 6, 7 years ago when I did it the first time, we charged 10K. It takes a bit longer. And we don't have this additional time. Time is valuable immensely for us at the moment. We have to be fast.
Well, I love it. I think it's a fantastic thing for a few reasons. One, especially in the early days of really understanding your ICP, you're going to have up close personal interaction with them to hear all the challenges, to hear what they want to solve, to hear why it's important for them. I mean, just to get to know your market, it's super invaluable. But I mean, even beyond that, one of the things I train in my sales coaching is be their advisor, be their consultant through the process. And how better can you be the consultant than actually going through a session with them where you're workshopping all of this stuff? I mean, their perspective of you, once you go through a process like that, is they see you as such an expert and such a guide that if you make a recommendation to start this or start doing that, of course they're going to follow you. If you run a session like that and do it successfully, the way Patrick just explained, you're going to have these people wanting to work with you further, trusting you, believing in you, and seeing that what you recommend is going to help them. I think it's just brilliant, Patrick.
Yeah, I think that's well summarized. So you have much less friction when you roll it out. You already have the first people who think like, or it's actually like this, right? They came up with the use cases that we want to cover. You can make a perfect, because you have then three use cases. So afterwards, we sit together without the client at first, think about, hey, which ones are technically the most fast and feasible, without us needing a lot of effort to put in, which ones have the biggest value. And then we decide, hey, let's focus on all three. Let's focus on only one. Let's focus on two. And then we come with a suggestion. We first talk to the champion about the suggestion. And then we book an economic buyer approval meeting where we present the final decision. Basically, hey, we found this, that's the business case, that's the cost, because then we can also set costs behind because we know everything. And then we only need one meeting more. It's like usually for a 50 to 100K deal, we have a sales cycle for like 3 to 4 months usually. And up to 100K deals, it's 6 months. It depends on in Switzerland and in Europe, the paper process takes much longer than in the US. Based on my experience, I sold for 1.5 years in New York. It was much easier. Here with all the people involved, it's crazy. So that usually takes another 3-4 months. But until decision is made, it's also usually 3 months. So it reduces the sales cycle massively. And because you have a very clear idea of the ROI, who is setting the price? I mean, you don't have to use your standard pricing. You can go higher if it's worth it for the customer.
For sure.
And just good. Because the thing is, my biggest issue, and I think every salesperson's biggest issue, I mean, like 7 years ago, when after the demo, I asked the customer, so how do we want to proceed? What do you think they answered? It's like, well, we have to talk internally. We have to find out internally which use cases to go after, and then we come back to you. And I'm there like, okay, discuss it internally. And after 3 months, they come to you, yeah, finally we made it. Maybe if you're lucky. Finally, we had a discussion and we decided on this. And then you're like, yeah, but technologically that's a bit difficult and so on. You have all the, that's the thing. So you don't have that anymore. You don't have people going inside. You can really say, look, with this, and this bank, talking to a bank, with this, and this bank, how we did it was we figured out, hey, look, it's much more effective if we do it together. I know you probably want to have the discussion internally as well, but let's do it together. We can guide you through a workshop with your users. And then usually what happens is users come up with amazing ideas. They love it and they want to participate way more in the POC afterward, in the testing afterwards. Is that a good suggestion?
I love it. I love it. And it's something that hits exactly at what we train. We have the perfect deal process. A lot of people out there listening right now, Patrick, are hearing you say that, nodding their head, saying, yes, that's what you have to do, because that's what we have hammered is in the perfect deal process. The L is lead. We have to be in the lead from the sales process. We have to be in charge because, like you said, we've done it before. We know what works, what's efficient for them to be able to get the right information in the quickest amount of time. And so we have to be the ones to say, here is what's going to happen next. Here is how you're going to be able to get the best information, how your teams are going to be able to come to a decision. And it's so awesome to see that you guys have made that happen and it's working so well for you and your team at Unique. I love it. And unfortunately, we're getting short on time, but I do want to ask you, what advice would you have to other software leaders who are in their early days and looking for an opportunity to be able to connect more with their market and get some wins, what would you share with them?
Honestly, Matt, the lead part, if that's what you teach, I realize it's one of the most important skills salespeople miss on their own. I mean, they lack that skill. And I think you have to train your sales team. You have to implement exactly the steps, and not just discovery demo in the enterprise. It's not just disco demo and then at some point, I don't know what follows after. Then think about, let's do a workshop. Let's do then a meeting with the champion, and then let's do a decision meeting to define the steps so that the salespeople, they know at the end of the demo, okay, I can now suggest the workshop, and that's how I do it. So the lead part is the reason why sales processes and sales cycles are so long, because salespeople are not assertive enough on that. They ask the customer, what do you think? But as soon as you have 20 customers, you have more experience with what is an efficient way to implement your tool or to evaluate your tool. And so I think that's, you nailed it. You've got a really strong point on this lead part. I think it's one of the absolute key things also that needs to be in the coaching and so on, be implemented in coaching and everything.
I'm glad you agree, because our members have seen extreme impact from it. And it's something that every week somebody says, hey, we got to win because we took charge, because we took the lead and made this happen. And if you think about it, if we've done everything right in the call and in the process leading up to that, right? If you discovered well, which means they're going to believe that you understand what you're talking about because you're asking questions that only people within this industry would ask. If you've educated them, that shows like you know what you're talking about. If you've connected your product and associated your solution to their challenges, they'll know you know what you're talking about because you've obviously met with the people in this industry and you know what they need. And then you take the lead, they're going to want to follow you. And that's the key point, is if you've done everything right, they're going to want you to help them and follow what you say. And so I think your idea for this value workshop is so amazing, Patrick. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this and walking us through it. I hope that everybody else who's selling it into the enterprise understands that they can put this in place and really get a lot out of it. How can our audience learn more about you and Unique? Where can they reach you?
Well, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn as well. Post every day. Not all of them are like that successful or that, but yeah, I'm posting. Go my profile, Patrick Trümpi. Connect. I'd love to connect with you. Certainly there you can reach me. Unique as well, same.
I love it. We'll put that in
my email. I mean, you can also send me an email if you want, and you probably have the tools to get that email address, right? If you use Lusha, Cognism, ZoomInfo, or whatever, patrick@unique.ch is also okay.
Perfect. And we'll put most of that, not the email, in the show notes, but if you heard this, you can get it. We'll put that all in there. Patrick, super awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for inviting me. It was a huge pleasure. I love the sharing between America and Europe especially. So I was really happy. I was really glad to come. Thanks.
Likewise. I love that as well. I'm glad I have a lot of clients all over the globe, including many in Europe. So thank you for coming on and sharing your insights. And everybody else out there, thank you for being here. So glad that you made it. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. You do not want to miss on any more amazing, actionable tips from leaders like Patrick. So definitely hit that subscribe button so you get all those notifications. And then we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Scale Your SaaS. For more help on finding great leads and closing more deals, go to mattwolach.com.